This week, the HPT is back in Indiana at the Belterra Casino Resort. The players that came to this full-service resort were immersed in luxury, great dining, amazing service, and of course, 5-star poker action. The field that started with hundreds is now down to the final 9. As always, life-changing money, HPT immortality, and bragging rights for a lifetime are on the line.
This is the HPT.
Sit right down, put on your poker face, you with the big dogs now. Better bring your best game, talk trash all you want. To me it's all the same, you won't leave with much when you come in second place. I'm the one with the stack showing 7 to the jack. Gon' cry to your mama cause I'm sending you back. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. Last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand.
Hello friends, welcome once again to the HPT. This week we are coming to you from the lap of luxury here at the Belterra Casino Resort in Florence, Indiana. If you're looking for a full-service spa, a challenging golf course, shopping, great dining, amazing hotel rooms, and some of the best poker action in the region, Belterra is the place for you. I'm Fred Bevel. The lady to my left is professional poker player Maria Ho.
It's been a great week here at Belterra, and it's only fitting that we culminate this week with an amazing final table. This field built a prize pool worth just under $350,000, and now the final 9 are ready to battle for the top prize of over $83,000.
The buy-in for all HPT main events is $1,650, but most of the players in the main event earn their seat from HPT's satellite and qualifier system. Most sat down only having a few $100s invested, and some of these players earn their seat for as little as $65. Put HPT's value with a structure designed specifically for HPT by Daniel Negreanu, and you have the best tour in poker.
Players everywhere are adding HPT events to their calendars, and the Belterra Casino Resort gave us a great mix of pros and talented amateurs, and this final table represents the very best from this field. I'm expecting some very entertaining poker as these players battle down to 1.
We are in for some fun action this week. Let's take a look at the money all these players are gunning for and the starting chip counts at the final table, then get right to the action.
First place winner is going to take home $83,000 and change. Our second place finisher is going to take home over $51,000, and our third place finisher is going to take home over $34,000.
Great payday at this final table. Let's take a look at the starting chip counts and get right to the action.
Jason Andrews comes into this final table as our chip leader with $2.2 million. Adam Friedman follows behind him with just under $1.8 million. We have a couple of short stacks at the table. Iverson Snuffer and Kenneth Zuspin have less than 20 big blinds.
Blinds at this final table are starting at $6,000 and $12,000 with a 1,000 chip ante. And that is Stephen Russell. He peels back Queen 8 of diamonds. He's going to fold. Over to Adam Bacon, one of my favorites on the HPT, making his second final table. He's going to lay it down. And then over to Adam, he folds, and that is Cotton Snuffer, making his second final table. Last time he made this final table here at Belterra. Jason is going to open this hand with a raise with 6-5 offsuit. Makes it $26,000 to go.
That's a fairly wide raise, even from late position. I think that during the start of a final table, it's important to feel out the other players a little bit. And, you know, I don't mind him taking the aggressive stance here, but it is a little bit wider than what I would be raising with.
Craig Casino makes the call with ace-10. John is going to fold behind him. We're now on Kevin Stammen, and he is going to go all in here, Maria, with pocket deuces.
Kevin came into this final table with about 24 big blinds, and I don't really mind this squeeze play shove here with deuces. He had a razor in late position, and Craig just flat called from the button, so Kevin has enough fold equity here to try to take this pot down.
Craig Casino does not fold easily. Craig has made several final tables on the HPT, also one of the leading cashers on the HPT.
I just don't think ace-10 off is good enough to call here, but I guess Craig thinks otherwise.
Well, Craig made the read. He had to think he was flipping, and that's good enough for him. He makes the call, and here we go. All of a sudden, first hand of the night, Maria, we are all in with Kevin's tournament life at stake.
It's essentially a coin flip here for Kevin's tournament life.
I've never seen two people use their own
see what the flop
one
brings.
time versus each other. All right, Glenda, let's go ahead and see.
Craig hoping to find an ace or a 10 on the flop. Kevin hoping to fade a lot here. The flop is king, deuce, 3 rainbow, and Maria, Craig has outs, but that pretty much seals it for Kevin.
Absolutely, that's pretty much the best flop Kevin could ask for, flopping bottom set here.
Reduce, let's go ahead and please see the turn card.
Craig's going to need some runners, and that's not going to do it. The 7 of hearts on the turn is going to have Craig drawing dead, and Kevin is going to double up.
I'll have 270.
Just what the doctor ordered. First hand of the final table, double up.
Craig, I think
That's a little over 600,000 now going into Kevin's stack.
Look out now.
So Kevin Stauman gets first blood here at this final table with a double up. A lot of poker left to be played on our way to a champion from the Belterra Casino Resort here on the HPT.
Welcome back to the HPT, coming to you from the Belterra Casino Resort here in Florence, Indiana. What a beautiful week it's been here. We've had a lot of fun, and we've seen some very exciting poker. Let's go inside and pick up the action. Maria and Fred will send things over to you.
After that double up, Kevin Stauman moves to the middle of the pack while Craig Casino falls all the way to the bottom with just 91,000. Our chip leader is still Jason Andrews with just under 2 million.
Craig Casino just doubling up. Kevin has him as the short stack with only 6 big blinds left. But hey, I've seen Craig in this spot many a times. Don't count him out yet. Blinds are going up. They're now 8 and 16,000 with a 2,000 chip ante. And this is Cotton Snuffer. Iverson Snuffer's his actual name, but he goes by Cotton. Great guy. Made the final table here at Belterra last time we were here. Also has the distinction of the first player to get a penalty at our final table. Accidentally tabled his hand, and the TD made him sit out for an orbit.
Jason opens with King 10 off to 40,000.
Craig is going to fold over to John. He's going to fold. And this is Steve Russell here. Wakes up with pocket queens. He's going to make the expected re-raise here to 140,000. Now we're over to Adam Bacon, also making his second final table.
Adam looks down at ace king offsuit. I'm expecting maybe a 4-bet here from Adam.
Boy, ace king's one of those hands that I just never know what to do, especially when you got a raise and a re-raise in front of you. I almost am inclined to lay it down.
Yeah, I think ace king sometimes can be tricky to play against a lot of action pre-flop, but that just comes down to knowing how tight or loose your opponents are in this situation. And Adam decides to 4-bet to 262,000. And I don't mind this 4-bet because you know that it's very unlikely somebody is going to 5-bet shove all in without having you beat, essentially. And also, he is in position, so if he does get called pre-flop by one of the 2 players, then he's able to play this hand in position on the flop. Jason's going to fold, and Steve has the decision of whether or not he's going to call or shove all in against this 4-bet.
Steve elects to just flat call here and see a flop.
I don't love the fact that Steve didn't shove all in. He is basically committing most of his stack here pre-flop, so there's not really any reason why he doesn't just move it all in pre.
The flop is ace 4 queen. What a flop for Steve. Adam has top pair with a king kicker. Steve has flopped middle set.
It's obviously going to go all in now with this flop, and as you can see, Steve just moves all in for 335,000, which was, you know, a little bit less than half the pot, so I just feel like he should have moved in pre.
For a flopped set, he shows 2 black.
Adam sees the bad news here. He is basically drawing dead. I mean, he's going to need to hit perfect here to pull this one out of the fire. Perfect storm for Steve, flopping middle set on an ace-high board.
And unless Adam hits some runner out, Steve is going to double up on this hand.
And that 7 of spades on the turn is going to seal the double up for Steve. And just like that, over 1.2 million going to Steve. An insignificant king of spades on the river. So 2 hands, Maria, 2 all-ins, 2 double ups. And you can't really blame either player for the way they played this hand, pocket queens versus ace king.
You just have to be on the right side of the flip at these final tables sometimes.
No one knows that better than you. Blind still at 8 and 16,000 with a 2,000 chip ante, as you see the overhead shot of our final table. 9-handed here in season 9.
Yeah, that's yours. That's what I thought.
Action in this hand is going to start on the legend, Craig Casino.
He looks down at King 7 offsuit, not going to play.
That kind of surprised me. Craig loves King 7. Action folding all the way around now to Stephen Russell. Off his fresh double up, he's going to fold. Adam Bacon looking to make up here. And look at this, back-to-back ace-king.
And Adam's pretty short here, so he is going to move all in with his stack. Hoping for a call, ace-king is a great hand to try to double up with.
Everybody folding around to the big blind of Jason Andrews, and he is going to make the call with King 6 offsuit.
We're going to flip over the cards.
Only had to call 78,000 to stay in the hand here. So right now, Adam Bacon poised to double up, which I'm a fan of. He's my favorite breakfast meat.
And it was pretty much a no-brainer for Jason in the big blind here. The call with King X.
So Jason hoping to find a 6 here.
I'll say that.
Lock City.
And the flop is deuce, 9, 3, couple of hearts. No help to Jason. He's still looking for a 6.
25 of hearts.
Adam's in the lead for his tournament life.
Let's go ahead and see the turn card.
Adam is a lab supervisor.
And the turn is the deuce of diamonds, pairing the board. Adam, with his ace-king high, is still in the lead.
No, it's no drop on.
And just give him the pot. He came. He doesn't even know the cards he needs. Just give him the pot. He doesn't deserve it. After that.
The river card. River card.
And the river is another deuce, and Adam is going to win with 3 deuces, ace-king kicker.
Good for Adam. Wow, that was awesome. Maria Ho, also a fan of pork.
Yes.
Love it.
Had some this morning.
We are still locked in 9-handed at this final table from Belterra, but Maria, the way the action is going, I don't think we're going to be 9-handed too much longer. We'll be back right after this. Thanks for joining us again here on the HPT. I'm Fred Bevel. She is Maria Ho. We are at the Belterra Casino Resort here in Florence, Indiana, with a lot of money on the line. Let's get right to the action.
Not much movement in the top spots here in the updated chip count. Jason Andrews and Adam Friedman still 1-2. However, we do have quite a few short stacks. Adam Bacon, Kenneth Zuspin, Iverson Snuffer, and Craig Casino all have less than 15 big blinds, and Craig really has to get something going with just 3 bigs.
Yeah, half the table short stacked here. It's really a tale of the haves and have-nots as blinds continue at 8 and 16,000 with a 2,000 chip ante. Under the gun is Adam Friedman. He is going to quickly fold. We're now over to Iverson Cotton Snuffer. Just love his name. He should be like a country singer, I think.
And he looks like an Iverson Snuffer, doesn't he?
Jason Andrews with ace-king offsuit is going to make the expected raise to 42,000. Craig and John fold behind him. We're now on Kevin.
Kevin looks like he wants to join in.
And he is going to re-raise it with pocket sevens, makes it 125,000 to go. And now it's Steve's Russell decision on whether or not he wants to play. 3-9 offsuit. I'm guessing he is going to elect not. And now over to Adam Bacon. It's ace-4 offsuit. Into the muck it goes.
And I don't like this 3-bet with sevens here. Jason raised from fairly early position, and Kevin has a deep enough stack here to just smooth call and see what happens.
It's 83,000 for Jason to call, but he is going to 4-bet it. Makes it 367,000 to go, and Kevin is forced to lay down his pocket pair. Maria, I think you nailed it on that one. If he would have just flat called, he could have played post flop with his pocket pair. Instead, he just kind of blew off 125,000 in chips there.
Show the ace.
Yeah, unfortunately for Kevin, he just 3-bet himself out of that pot because he's not going to 5-bet shove with sevens, and he's not going to call a 4-bet from Jason with just sevens.
Like a
so,
big,
you know, I kind of like to see a flat from him there.
Action in this hand will start with Cotton. He's got ace-4 offsuit. Not good enough. Now over to Jason. He's going to fold. Back to Craig Casino. Only 3 big blinds in his stack. It's pretty much any 2 cards for Craig at this point, and he is going to go all in.
Queen 9 is definitely good enough to move in here in an unopened pot with his 3 big blind stack. He's definitely going to get called. It's just a matter of who and how many people will call him.
Well, Steve wakes up with pocket 4s, so I suspect he's going to make the call. And he does. Over to Adam Bacon now. He folds. And this is Kenneth Zuspin. Folds queen 10 in the small blind. That's a little surprising.
31,000.
And now over to Adam Friedman, professional poker
looking?
player.
Adam has the worst
He folds.
hand in poker. It appears to be the 7 digits.
So we are heads up going to the flop.
Here we go,
Craig
ladies and
behind,
gentlemen,
but it has 2
players.
overcards.
A classic race situation. Craig for his life here, his tournament life.
Craig's going to go to his feet and hope he finds a queen or a 9. Otherwise, he will be out in 9th place at this final table.
I'm not getting ready to leave. I just feel like stretching. Spinning out of the turn.
And as we can see here, it's basically a flip, but one of Craig's queens is dead. The flop is king, king
not bad.
3.
Barring a
Steve
deuce.
is still ahead with kings
Yeah.
and 4s. Craig is looking to pair his queen or his 9.
It is Steve Russell with 2 pair, kings and 4s. Craig looking
And
for
on to the turn we go.
Yeah.
Craig hoping to
Definitely
get
got a
lucky
big
here
pair.
and stay alive at this final table.
And the turn is the 7 of spades. Still no help to Craig.
It does open some outs for him, though. If the board pairs another 7,
I might as
Craig will
well
have
get
2
ready.
pair with a queen kicker and counterfeit Steve. Otherwise, it's a queen or a 9 for Craig.
Put it out there.
9 total outs. Ollie, let's see.
He can afford the
river's
chips.
And the
Look at that
river
board.
is the king, and
hand.
that is not going to do it for Craig. He will be eliminated as our 9th place finisher.
If you come to an HPT event, there's a great chance you're going to meet Craig Casino, one of the nicest guys we have on the tour, one of our biggest players we have on the tour. His resume speaks for itself, and I'm sure we'll see him again real soon. Blinds are still at 8 and 16,000 with a 2,000 chip ante. And it looks like Jason will be under the gun here in this hand. Jason lists himself as a part-time poker player with over 200,000 in tournament winnings. That's not a bad part-time hobby. Couple
Not
hundred
bad
grand.
at all. I was playing full time at one point, not making that much.
42.
And Jason's going to raise it up to 42,000 with pocket 6s. John Mahalik again folds. Hasn't had a lot of cards to play here at this final table.
He folds.
Action continuing to fold around.
Adam folds.
We're now on the 9 seat of Kenneth Zuspin. And now over to the 1 seat of Adam Friedman, professional poker player. And Adam is just going to flat call with ace king here. Maria, your thoughts on that?
I find that interesting. I can see maybe why he does it. Jason did raise from under the gun here. And I think Adam just isn't the type of person to play a big pot pre-flop with ace king.
The flop is 9 king 3 with a couple of clubs, so Adam has outflopped Jason. He has top pair with top kicker. And he's going to check over to Jason, who makes the expected continuation bet to 56,000.
And I like to see Adam just call here. There's not really any turn cards that Adam doesn't want to see. And also, it's for deception because he not only just smooth called with such a big hand like ace king pre, but he's also hoping to extract more value from the pre-flop raiser.
Adam hoping to get more value, checks it all the way down, trying to get Jason to fire another bullet. He smartly does not, and Adam's going to take this pot down with top 2 pair.
See where I was.
I think Adam got about as much as he was going to get out of Jason there.
Yeah, I think once
bet about
Adam called
90
Jason's
and-
C-bet, I think Jason was most
90,
likely going to
checkers
shut
up
down.
to
So
47
I don't blame Adam for checking it over, hoping he'd take another step.
More poker when we come back to Belterra right after this.
8 players left here at this final table, coming to you from Florence, Indiana, and the Belterra Casino Resort. Let's go inside and pick up the action. We'll send things over to Maria and Fred.
Jason Andrews still holding on to the top spot, but Adam Friedman is trying to close that gap. Steve Russell still in 3rd position. Kenneth Zuspin and Iverson Snuffer are our short stacks with 7 and 4 bigs respectively.
Boy, it's still a tale of the haves and the have-nots at this final table. The top stack's over $1 million. The bottom stack's looking to get some traction here. And we've seen John Mahalik at a final table before. We see him in the HPT fields all the time. And I can tell you from knowing John, he hates folding. Iverson's going to open the pot and go all in with ace-5 offsuit.
Iverson with just 4 big blinds. Any ace here will do. And it looks like Jason Andrews is going to isolate him, re-raising here.
Jason has picked up some cards, and he's played them really well so far. I like this isolation bet, Maria.
Definitely 7s is good enough to isolate a 4 big blind stack all in. You want to protect your hand and protect the chips that are in the pot.
Action folding around now. We're on the 9 seat of Kenneth Zussman. He's going to lay it down.
Flip over the cards. We start with the
So the players are going to table their hands. Iverson's going to find out he is behind. He has one live card. Jason hoping to fade an ace here
He's going up
and make this a seven-handed table.
Oh, Jason. Now let's go ahead and see the flop, please.
Jason's looking to increase his chip lead here. And the flop is ace, seven, jack, and unfortunately for Iverson, Jason's flop is set of sevens. Even though Iverson has paired his ace, he's in a whole lot of trouble here.
Pair of aces. A set of sevens still for the three-seated Jason.
Question is, if you're calling me.
As you can see, Iverson has 1% to win this pot here, and the turn is the deuce of clubs, and that is going to do it for Iverson. He will become our 8th place finisher.
Iverson owns a company called Leisure World. My application is currently being submitted to that company as he exits in 8th place here. Another fine run for Cotton. So action continues here. We are now seven-handed on our way to a champion. The blinds remain at 8 and 16,000 with a 2,000 chip ante. And the man who's been driving the action at this table so far, Jason Andrews, is under the gun, and he's grabbing chips again, Maria.
He makes it 36,000 to go with ace-8 of clubs. I like how Jason is asserting himself as the chip leader at this table, keeping his foot on the gas pedal.
The ace he folds over the seat.
Action continues to fold around. Jason's got the image. Don't mess with me. I'm winning. And Adam is going to flat call here with ace-jack.
Two players, seats one.
Adam has Jason dominated here.
6 or 7.
Adam, a very calculated player.
That would have made a big difference.
And the flop is 3-8 for Rainbow, and Jason outflops Adam, pairing his 8 here, and he fires 60,000.
And Adam reading that as a standard continuation bet, isn't going anywhere with ace-jack high. He's going to make the call.
You can't blame Adam for calling 1 on the flop here. His hand is deceptively strong here.
And the 7 of clubs on the turn, a great card for Jason as it takes outs away from Adam.
And I think Adam was hoping that Jason would just shut down if he didn't have a piece. And he is correct to fold here, as Jason did have the best hand.
Ace of clubs. You hit a 3 out. I swear to God. I believe
You know, Maria, one of the great things about this game is it is full of legends and characters, and no one better to tell us about those folks than the legend himself, Doyle Brunson. It is time for A Poker Life, brought to us by our friends at Ace Play Poker. This week, Doyle tells us about the first time he saw Stu Unger play the game.
First time I saw Stu Unger, I wondered if he was old enough to be in the casino. He looked like a little kid. He was sitting on telephone books to be big enough to get to the table. And I knew right away that I found out he was the best gin player. And I'm sure that he was the best gin player that ever lived, for sure. I mean, he beat all the top players easily. And he started playing poker, and he wasn't that good to start with. What year was it he won? 82? Anyway, that year, he started out, and he was at my table for a long time. And if he'd had anything beaten, he would have got broken and been out of the tournament, but he didn't. But you could see the improvement in him day by day. I think it was a 3 or 4 day tournament. And it finally came down to me and him. Now, at this point, there was a little rivalry going on between me and Chip Reese, because Chip was showing his dominance at all the other games, and there was questionable who was the better player, me or Chip. And Stewie and Chip were good friends, and Chip was tutoring Stewie, and Stewie was getting to be good at the other games, but wasn't proficient at Hold'em yet when he won the first tournament. But make a long story short, he put a big draw out on me, and he won. He beat me. So I came in second and didn't win my 3rd championship.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle Brunson. Maria, he said it best. When you see someone special, you just know it right away. And Stu Unger, definitely one of those players in this game's storied history. We'll be right back to the Belterra Casino Resort right after this.
And welcome back to the HPT here from the Belterra Casino Resort here in Florence, Indiana. If you're watching this show and you think you have what it takes to play an HPT event and maybe make a final table, check out our webpage for a complete listing of all of our events. It's very simple. Just head on over to hptpoker.com. Let's get back to the action, and we'll send it over to Freddie and Maria.
No movement in the top 3 spots. Jason Andrews has done a good job of keeping the chip lead. Kenneth Zuspin, though, has fallen all the way to 5 big blinds, and he's really going to need to find a hand here and double up.
In that middle of the pack, John Mahalik hasn't played a hand yet. He is looking to pick up some cards and get in the action here as blinds continue at 8 and 16,000 with a 2,000 chip ante. Action in this hand will begin with Kevin Stammen. He is going to fold over to Steve now.
It wouldn't have been for that.
Steve Russell looks down at ace-9 off.
2 9s, ace queen.
Steve is a self-employed contractor, lives in Coolville, Ohio. Now that's a town I got to visit.
Steve makes it 45,000 to go.
Action folding around now to Adam.
You got about $1.3 million, right?
Adam has 7-9 suited, but he wants to get an inventory of what Kevin is playing.
I think Adam's trying to figure out if he has the implied odds to call here with a suited semi-connected hand. He's obviously hoping to smash the flop here and hopefully try to get Steve's entire stack. 9-7 suited is not a hand that he would be flatting here with if Steve wasn't deep.
The flop is deuce, 7, deuce. So Adam has outflopped Steve. And if you're new to poker and you're listening to Maria Ho use fancy terms like implied odds, Maria, explain what implied odds are.
Implied odds, to put it very simply, is how much money you can win if you were to hit your hand.
Steve bet 60,000 here, and Adam is just going to call with top pair. Adam probably thinks he has the best hand right now, given that Steve doubtfully raised with a 7 or a deuce in his hand. As the turn falls is the 6 of clubs. Doesn't look like Steve is slowing down too much.
I think Adam has shown that he likes to play small ball poker. He doesn't like to 3-bet pre with ace-king. He likes to just call in these situations. I think he just likes to keep the pot small and extract value, but not overplay his hands.
Not a bad strategy at all. Steve is going to bet 80,000. And it looks like Adam is going to ho-hum call again. A little over 400,000 in the pot here.
Let's go ahead and see that river card, Cameron.
A harmless 3 of hearts comes on the river, so Adam has the best hand. The only way he can lose is if Steve pushes him off.
I'm surprised to see Steve betting here. He has ace high. He definitely has some showdown value. I'd probably just check it over to Adam and hope he checks behind.
You really got 2 jacks, huh?
You know, Adam doesn't look like he likes this triple barrel here. It looks like he's thinking that he might be beat. So, I mean, it might work out for him.
Time.
Adam makes the near Christmas time call and is going to find out he's good. But we heard Adam vocalize. He put Steve on a bigger pair, like pocket jacks.
You can bluff.
I think if Steve had bet a little more than just a quarter of the pot, he probably would have taken it down.
Yeah, possibly. Adam did not look too happy there to have to call 3 bets from Steve. But unfortunately for Steve, it just didn't work out that time.
That third barrel will always make him think. A bigger bet on the river might have done it. Although Adam's pretty good at reading players, too. He might have called anyway. This is the other Adam at the table, Adam Bacon.
And he looks down at queen 7 suited and not going to play.
And it's ace 6 for Kenneth Zuspin, the short stack. That's good enough to get it all in. And action's going to fold all the way around back to Steve Russell. Steve has pocket 5s.
And I'm sure Steve's going to call here with his 5s. It's only 64,000 more.
And that's exactly what he does. Steve is going to see that he is ahead, but he is coin flipping as Kenneth has 2 overcards to his pair.
Turns 55 today.
56, right?
56.
He was
You were
55.
55?
Kenneth all in here for his tournament life.
He doesn't look a day over
Hoping
68.
to hit one of his 2 overcards here.
All right, Cameron, let's go ahead and see the flop, please.
And here comes the flop.
The flop is 8-4 deuce, couple of clubs. No help to Kenneth, and he's still looking to pair.
Mind the 5 of clubs?
Nothing worse than being on a pair draw.
Turn card is the 8.
Turn is the 8 of diamonds.
Probably do now.
Pairs the board, but Kenneth is still going to need an ace or a 6 on the river in order to survive.
Steve hoping to fade the outs Ken needs and knock another player off this table, and that is what's going to happen as the 10 of spades falls on the river. That will be all for Ken Zuspin.
Unfortunately, he just didn't have any cards during this final table, but he is going to go home with over 13,000.
Great payday for a weekend of poker. He does the gentleman thing, shakes the hand of everybody, and wishes them luck.
Give him a round of applause. He just started a
As
new
we get closer to our newest HPT champion, blinds are going up to 10 and 20,000 with a 3,000 chip ante, as this will be the first hand six-handed.
Six-handed marks the beginning of short-handed play here at this final table, and I'm interested to see how the dynamics will change. I think Jason has done a very good job of keeping the aggression up here, and I think that it's time for some of the other players with deep stacks to step up a little bit.
This hand begins with Adam Friedman, and he wakes up with Jack 7 suited, and he's going to raise it up, makes it 41,000 to go. Now we are over to the other Adam at the table, Adam Bacon, and he wakes up with Big Slick. Maria Ace King making a lot of appearances at this final table.
And with just 8 big blinds, it's a great hand to find here in the big blind. And Adam Friedman, unfortunately, might be priced into call with Jack 7. I think he doesn't really want people to see what he's raising with, but unfortunately, I think he's going to have to make the call here.
And he does make the call, and Adam's going to find out he's actually not in as bad of a shape as he might have thought. He's got 2 live cards. He's also got diamonds.
That's the only reason I didn't feel like calling.
But we will be going to the flop with Adam Bacon in the lead here. You know, I like Adam Friedman. He's a good guy, but I can't root against Bacon.
Neither can I.
Mr. Bacon's life at risk. Here comes the flop.
King in the window, queen 6 to follow with a couple of hearts. Adam has paired the king here, keeping his lead. Friedman looking for some backdoor flush and straight draws to knock out Bacon.
You know, both players named Adam were using last names to differentiate. When you just say knock out Bacon, it doesn't sound right. We can't knock out Bacon.
The turn is the Jack of Hearts. So now Friedman paired his Jack, meaning he'll need another Jack or a 7 on the river in order to knock out Bacon.
But he's also in the lead.
That ain't right.
We can't knock out Bacon. Look at him. He's delicious.
The river is the queen of hearts, and Bacon is going to double up here with 2 pair, kings and queens, with an ace kicker.
Good for Adam Bacon. 342,000 going into his stack. He's still short, but it gives him a little more breathing room. I'm happy to say Bacon alive and well at this final table. More poker from the Belterra Casino Resort in Florence, Indiana, when we come back to the HPT. Welcome back to the Belterra Casino Resort Hotel here in Florence, Indiana. What a beautiful property this is. This is Maria Ho. I am Fred Bevel, and we have a few remaining players battling for the championship and life-changing money. Let's take a look at the updated chip counts and get right to the action.
And as you can see, even with Adam Bacon's recent double up, he's still our short stack with about 17 big blinds. Jason, Adam, Steve, all the way from the start of the final table, has maintained their top spot.
And John Mahalik in the 4th spot on the chip count right now, still sitting with 34 big blinds, but he has not played a hand yet at this final table. Been really, really card dead, and he'll be under the gun this hand, and he's going to have to fold again.
Kevin Stammen looking down at 10-8 of spades. He's got about 23 big blinds, and I think what he's trying to do is make a bit of a light steal off of his stack.
He's going to raise it up to 45,000. Action now back on Adam Bacon. He's got Queen Jack offsuit. He's going to fold. Over to Adam now. Oh dear. Pocket aces.
And Adam, noticing that Kevin does have somewhat of a shorter stack, is just figuring out how is he possibly going to get all of those chips. Should he 3-bet here? Should he just flat? And I think a lot of that depends on how strong he thinks Kevin's hand is here.
Well, there's also players left to act, right, too? So do you maybe want to not see the other guy fold and take aces 3-handed?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a consideration for Adam Friedman, and he does decide to 3-bet to 96,000.
And that's going to have Jason fold, so now we're back on Kevin.
And I think Kevin's taking a little bit of time here because maybe he thinks Adam is picking on his 20 big blind stack. Sometimes good players will recognize that with a 20 big blind stack here, it's basically an all-in or fold situation when faced with a 3-bet. And I think Kevin's just deciding whether or not Adam is taking advantage of that right now.
The flop is 7-5-3 with a couple of spades, so Adam's aces still ahead, but Kevin has picked up a flush draw. I'm sorry, I'm just taking notes on everything you just said there. Boy, if you don't take notes during Maria Ho's commentary, you are missing a lot of teachable moments.
And I think Kevin flatted because maybe he didn't believe Adam all that much, and he has position, and you know, now he's flopped a flush draw. Can't go anywhere. I'm imagining all the chips are going to go in here.
Adam bets 72,000, which seems like a light bet considering the pot size. Adam trying to string him along here, I'm guessing.
Call.
And Kevin's going to go all in here, and Adam's going to quickly call.
And Adam's going to see he's ahead, but Kevin does have a big draw.
And you know, not many players peel off of a 20 big blind stack. I don't know if I love the fact that Kevin peeled here with 10-8, but you know, he does have some equity here with a flush draw.
More poker jargon. Maria, define peeled, please.
Peel is when you just smooth call a 3-bet. It doesn't matter if you're in position or out of position. A peel is just a smooth call against
He's got way too many outs.
Excellent. The turn is a 6 of diamonds, and that just opened up the world to Kevin. Now he's got what's known as a double belly buster draw. 2 straight draws. A 4 or a 9 will complete the straight. A spade will give him a flush. Adam hoping the aces can hold on the river here.
River card is another.
And the river is the 6 of hearts, and you know, sometimes you have too many outs, you're not going to hit. Adam faded Kevin's huge draw there, eliminating
I've never
him
had
in
too many outs in my life. I've never had too many outs
Almost
in my life.
half the deck would have helped Kevin's hand, but a blank on the river has him leaving, but he's going home with almost $16,000. Congratulations to that, young man. Blinds are continuing at 10 and 20,000 with a 3,000 chip ante as we are now 5-handed. Maria, if 6-handed is the beginning of short-handed play, do the dynamics change a lot with 5-handed, or do they pretty much stay the same as if they were 6-handed?
I feel like 5 and 6-handed play pretty similarly. Definitely when you get down to 4-handed, though, it changes quite a bit.
Adam is going to raise it up to 41,000 with an offsuit ace. And John Mahalik, look at this, he's in a pot. He makes the call with 8-9 offsuits.
I think it's interesting that he decides to pick 8-9 to call from the small blind after he's been folding so much, but maybe he's getting tired of folding.
I know how that feels.
3 ways to the flop, as Steve also calls with Jack-5 from the big.
And the flop is Ace-King-3 with a couple of clubs. So Adam is flopped top pair. Everyone else has whiffed this board.
And you know, I think John is just getting tired of not playing a pot, not winning any pots, because he's just going to lead in here with nothing. That's 80,000.
You know, John has been folding literally this entire final table. He hasn't played a hand tool, and we're now 5-handed. You think these players would put him on a much tighter range, and maybe Adam would be afraid of his kicker?
And that's why Adam doesn't really have a choice but just to call here on the flop. He's not really going to fold just against a flop bet with top pair here with a flush draw showing, but you know, I'm sure he doesn't love it.
The turn is the 4 of diamonds. John once again fires on the turn, and Adam just puts the hammer down and shoves him all in.
And I think Adam was just waiting for a safe card on the turn. The flush didn't come in. 4 of diamonds actually gives Adam some more outs if his kicker wasn't best, and I think he just didn't want a tough river decision, and he was just going to put John all in on the turn.
And it worked out. John was just playing with a lot of heart there, not any cards. And I think against any other player at this final table, that might have worked.
Time to take a quick break, but when we come back, 5 players remain here in Florence, Indiana at the Belterra Casino Resort. Don't go too far. You're watching the HPT. And welcome back to the HPT here from the Belterra Casino Resort here in Florence, Indiana. If you're watching this show and you think you have what it takes to play an HPT event and maybe make a final table, check out our webpage for a complete listing of all of our events. It's very simple. Just head on over to hptpoker.com. Let's get back to the action, and we'll send it over to Freddie and Maria.
Adam Friedman, who was in the second spot, has now moved into the top spot with over $3 million. Jason Andrews is second on the chip counts, and both John Mahalik and Adam Bacon have about similar stacks with 18 and 16 big blinds.
The top 3 over $1 million. The bottom 2 from there, not even 500,000. Blinds are still at 10 and 20,000 with a 3,000 chip ante.
First to act is Jacob.
And action is quickly being folded around here. We are on Steve Russell. He's got ace jack suited.
That is it. It's a 61,000.
Steve makes it 61,000.
Over on Adam.
And look at this, right behind him, Adam Bacon wakes up with ace queen suited.
And that's definitely a hand that he will be going all in with here.
As we just saw on the chip graphic, Adam won of the short stack, so he doesn't have any post-flop play in his stack. He is going to get it all in.
And Steve definitely has a good enough hand here to call with. Ace-Jack suited on the button, five-handed, is very strong, and Adam's only shoving for 16 big blinds.
What call?
And Steve does make the expected call, and he's going to find that he is just crushed in this hand. He's going to be hoping for spades or a jack to eliminate Adam Bacon. And I'm going to stand by my policy. I never root against Bacon, so I'm going to hope the ace-queen holds.
And once again, is Adam Bacon who flips over ace.
It's not ace king, you know.
Okay, but what would happen if Steve had king-queen? You would be really conflicted here.
I'd be very conflicted, yes.
See.
And the flop is king, king, nine, one spade. Adam is still ahead with pair of kings and ace queen kicker.
The ace queen still ahead.
One spade on this flop, so Steve hoping for some kind of a sweat here on the turn.
Turn card, please. Turn
That's
card.
someone who
The
gets
turn
something
is
to
the
read.
eight of clubs, and now Steve is looking for the jack and only the jack in order to eliminate Adam Bacon.
Steve could chop here if the board pairs. Adam hoping it's just a blank on the river and to double up.
And the river is the seven of hearts, and Adam Bacon is going to double up again here at this final table.
It's good to see Bacon smile. 663,000 is going to be Adam's new chip count. Again, still short, but getting more breathing room. Maria, you know better than most. Grinding a small stack to the right time of a tournament and then catching a heater is also a recipe for success.
Absolutely. I think Adam is just hoping that now he's in the safe zone, he could play a little bit of post-flop poker.
Adam.
Ace 10 is his holding in this hand. And I think his stack does have a little bit of post-flop play in it. Guess he's just going to make it 40,000 to go. A min raise. Sneaky, sneaky.
It's 40.
The min raise is the new hula hoop in poker. No one's 3 or 4xing anymore. It's all min raising.
No, I think people have figured out that it's about achieving the same thing with a 2x raise versus a 3x raise. You get to save some chips and, you know, you're going to get a little bit of action.
Adam Friedman is going to re-raise here with 6 deuce. Adam playing the player, not the cards on this hand.
It looks like Friedman thinks that, you know, Adam Bacon just doubled up here and he's probably trying to ride some kind of momentum, but maybe he doesn't have that strong of a hand and he's really putting him to the test here. But Bacon is going to call here with ace 10.
Let's go ahead and see the flop.
The flop is 8 queen jack rainbow. So Bacon still ahead, also picks up a gut shot straight draw. Adam Friedman with just 6 high has the betting lead in this hand, and Maria, it looks like he is going to c-bet.
I think Friedman's thinking that he needs to c-bet here and is hoping that Bacon's just going to go away. But if Bacon does call here, I think Friedman's going to have to shut down. That flop does look like it could hit Bacon's range here with his raise and his call pre-flop.
Adam makes the call from Adam's bet. All right, we're going to see the turn card, please.
And the turn is the 7 of diamonds. Bacon still has the lead, but Friedman has been the one betting in this hand so far.
AB.
Approaching 350,000 chip pot.
And obviously, because we could see the cards, we know that if Friedman was able to fire another bullet here, he will probably get Bacon to fold.
Well, Bacon did check over to Friedman. And Friedman is going to bet 113,000.
113.
And Maria, this might do it. I think you're right. Adam just with ace high right now in a gut shot draw. Doesn't want to blow off the chips he just earned.
And Friedman really hasn't shown to get out of line so far at this final table, so there's really no reason for Bacon to think that Friedman has complete air here.
Friedman re-raised pre-flop, fired on the flop, and is now fired on the turn. And that's going to do it for Adam Bacon. He is going to fold. And Adam Friedman just pulled off the biggest bluff we've seen so far at this final table. Hey, look at him, he's smiling. He's like, yeah, I got you.
It's definitely about playing your image, and I think Friedman has a very good awareness of what his image is at the table.
Well, I hope you've had as much fun as we have watching the first half of this final table. We've had 4 eliminations, which leaves us 5 players remaining for the championship. Maria, what is your take on the play this week so far?
Well, unfortunately, we've had to say an early goodbye to some of our past HPT final tablists, such as Craig Casino, Iverson Snuffer. They just really weren't able to get anything going. But you know what? I would keep my eye out on Adam Friedman. He's been playing a really great game so far, and he might be able to take this home.
Adam is no stranger to a national spotlight in the poker world as he's played on the WSOP. We'll see if Adam can hang on and take this thing down, or if one of these other talented players will overcome and be the next champion. Now, do you think you have what it takes to sit on the HPT final table and compete for unreal money? Well, then log on to hptpoker.com and find an event near you. For Maria Ho and James Larson, I'm Fred Bevel. We'll see you next time right here on the HPT.